Hello, how you doing? So this month I'm doing a wrap up like I generally do, and I've read 8 novels and 12 mangas. I have not finished any short story collections, though I'm still working through a catalog for The End of Humanity by Tim Higginson. And in a total I have finished 20 books in the month of April. That's a lot of books in 1 month. And then we're going to go in order of how I have it up here on my list that I'm looking at right behind you. And so that's going to go the books I read in order, the novels, we'll call them the novels I read in order, and then we're going to talk about the manga, and then we're going to be done with that. So the first book that I finished in April is Emily Wilde's Map of Other Worlds. My dad got me this copy and I was so happy about it. He was so expensive on Amazon, so he went and found a better deal someplace else. Made me feel very loved. And I really enjoyed this book. It's been a while since I read it, so I don't have like any immediate thoughts flashing through me, but it's had that same wild vibe. I'm coming to realize, and I think these books really show it and do a really good job at that, is how much I just love the sporadicness of Fae and all their crazy shenanigans. And I really liked it. The romance was still as cute as ever, and I'm excited to see the next installment of the book whenever it comes out. And I'm also excited to get the floppy version of this book. That can go back here in this pile so it looks vaguely booky. Then I finished Little Birds. This is a short story collection by Hannah Lee Kidder. And now if you're wondering why I didn't put this in a short story thing, it's because I read this in like one day. And generally I have a separate thing for short stories when I'm like reading through it more slowly. And this has a bunch of different flash fiction and short stories, and I think there's some poems in there. I don't know for sure. She doesn't really write poems, but I've read this a couple times. I love her work. This is what inspired me to personally write short stories and really get into them. So it's fun to have a little reread of it, go down memory lane. And yeah. Then I read Go Ask Alice, which is a real person's diary of a drug addict, and the ending before the little like this is what happened after she finished writing her journal and diary or whatever was so sad, and I was like, oh, I thought we were getting a happily ever after. So be warned if you read that book, but it was interesting and sporadic, and I would say I enjoyed it quite a bit. So there is that. And then I read Cinders of Glass. This is a thick book. I read it before. I really forgot so much of what happened in it, so it was so fun rereading it, and I really do love this. So let me give you a little summary. It's a combination of the Little Match Girl and Cinderella, and it's like spying is in there, and like the characters, like the prince is so twisted, and we can see Cinderella starting to become a little twisted too, and it's just so amazing. And I love Celeste Baxendale so much, and this is such a good book, so very, very good, and I'm so glad I own it. And I have my little annotations in blue. I did blue to match the cover. It was so fun. I would totally recommend this book. It's one of my favorites in the series. Not my first favorite. My first favorite is Sands of Deceit. But I would recommend reading these in order, because how things go, it often makes more sense if you know what happened beforehand. And I did try reading it out for her, so you know. And then, I don't read this book yet. So then I read Mirrors of Ice because the love interest brother is something that keeps coming up in like the events in that book, so it made me crave that book. And so I read that, and that is a combination of Snow White and the Snow Queen, and it's so fun. And I love how they combine the two, and it's just so delicious is how I'm gonna phrase it. Delicious and delightful and lovely. So very lovely. So yes. And then I read Dangerous, and it's by Elizabeth Wheatley. And what's happening in that book is this girl who is like magically forced to be an assassin, or magically forced to be a slave pretty much, and then she gets engaged to a prince and shenanigans ensue. It's not a right book. Not my favorite, not my least favorite, and if you're interested in it, I wouldn't dissuade you, but I think I'd like it more if it didn't cost $25. I keep saying that. I feel bad for that, but I feel like that's true. I just got a text message. I'm excited about that text message. So yeah, there's that. And then I read Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and I loved this one so much. It was so fun. I'm gonna assume, so Yumi and the Nightmare Painter is about these people who are like magically being transported to each other's worlds in each other's bodies, and it's so interesting to see, and the twists at the end were fun, and I love the prose style, and like how art is shown is lovely. Like, I'm an artist at heart. I love writing, I love arting, I love sewing, drawing, painting, whatever you want to call it. I love all that, and it's so fun to see it in a book. And I feel like the characters were really unique in this story. I feel like that can also be said for Cinder's Glass. I feel like I should pull that out. But in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, they're really unique, and it was so lovely. So I would recommend. After that, I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and that was when it really clicked for me. What I was talking about with I really like when the books start to feel like a fairy tale, like these wild things just kind of happen, and people are just like, okay, and I love that, because that's a fairy tale, and they're not like, and it makes sense that it's happening, but it's also just so wild, and so, like, the magic's so soft, and I really love that. And I enjoyed the prose in this book a lot too. It was just like, it felt like I was reading a myth, and I really enjoyed that. And it's like a little bit harder than a full-blown myth that I would just speak to you, but it was so lovely. And I actually have a reading vlog planned for it wouldn't go up in May, it'd go up in June, but I would be reading the books in May, so I'm excited about that too, and I would love for you to read that. Then I read Nettle and Bone right after that, and that was like the final knock, and all those things I was saying about The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea and Emily Wilde's Map of Other Worlds, and I'm just so happy that I read that. I find myself, like, I forgot that I read it, because I'm putting it in a reading vlog that will go up this month, because I have one more book to finish for it that's not in this wrap up, but yeah, it'll go up and it will be fun to see. Oh, I should have returned that book. I need my photo. Oh well, I guess I won't get the photo. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend Nettle and Bone. Finally, I read Crave. It is a thick book. Not my favorite read. I think the prose were not good. Is there anything else I have to say about it? Not really. I was very intrigued to read it, and my clip about it in the reading vlog, the last one, I feel like summarized my opinions really good, because I enjoyed it, and I was happy to be reading it, but I don't love it in any way, shape, or form. So it's a 3-star, because 4 stars are like almost favorite, 5 is favorite, 3 is I liked you, and then 1 would be you suck, and 2 would be somewhere between you suck and I liked you. So I don't know. That's kind of how I'm figuring it right now. Okay, now for manga. So I've read so many. So I read the 10th and 11th volume of the Apocryphy Diaries. I enjoyed it still. I am wanting her to... I'm excited to see where the romance aspect of that goes, because that's my favorite thing. But it's really good. Then I read Yona and the Dawn of the Dawn, the volumes 4 through 12. We've gotten all the dragons now, which is cool. And I'm really enjoying it in the character dynamics. And it's fun and it's lighthearted. And it's cool seeing how hardworking Yona is and how people are drawn to her. And I'm also interested in how the book's gonna the mangas are gonna respond to the guy who took over. Kind of does a good job, and Yona will do a good job. Like, we see that in that, so I'm excited to see where that goes, and also how Yona decides to respond to how she feels about him. So yeah. Then I read volume 6 of Villains Are Destined to Die, and I enjoyed it, and I don't really have any more thoughts on it. So those are all the books that I read this month, and I'd say I did have a pretty great reading month. I didn't have any books I really hated, and that's good news. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for all these lovely authors for publishing these books. Thank you for my library for providing many of these. Thank you for my dad for getting me the new book, and for Adrienne for getting me Crave, and to Brandy for getting me Cinders of Grass for Christmas. And thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you later. Bye!